Good evening, folks. I hope everyone's doing well. Well, today evening, I'm going to be speaking about meritocratic governance. And if you can see my title, it says Meritocratic Governance in Northeast India. So this is my podcast number 26, guys. I hope that, you will continue to follow me in this journey, but I hope everyone's doing well, by the way, due to the whole COVID situation thing. Okay, all right, let me just get to it now. So I'm going to define my topic, okay, and particularly the word meritocracy, okay, or meritocratic governance per se. According to the Oxford Dictionary, meritocracy is defined as a society in which power is held by the people with the greatest ability, unquote. So this is according to the Oxford Dictionary. So in this podcast, let me just make this clear, okay? I'm going to put up my perspective on the table here, and you can put up your perspective or your point of views on the table. And I'm certainly not advocating, against any government, any person, any organization, or any person, any people per se. Okay, groups of people. Sorry. So, what I'm going to do is this whole business with meritocracy, okay, or meritocratic governance. What I'm going to say is that. I'm going to appeal or advocate for this kind of governance. And if you agree or disagree, that is totally up to you, okay? But please hear me out on this. All right, I guess you guys can hear me. For example, let's look at Singapore. And I'm sure everybody knows where Singapore. Singapore is a sovereign city-state whose government functions on merit-based. Some would say Singapore's government is also deeply paternalistic, meaning paternalistic could be defined as the policy of protecting your own people. Okay, but sometimes there is this restriction of their freedom of say for example responsibilities. So there is this kind of like overarching control. Okay, a lot of critics would comment on that. However, Singapore's government is deeply paternalistic, combining perfectionist ideals with soft authoritarian methods. That's beside the point here, guys. The point here is that the government hires people who are purely based on merit, despite the fact, that they have differences with social backgrounds, be it gender or be it some kind of a party or ideology or whoever have differences. That doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, meritocratic government is basically a kind of a government that recruits people with merit. Okay. So as I was doing my research, I thought that was very interesting, and looking at the scenario in many countries, and I would say even my country as well, and even the place that I am in, Nagaland and North-East states of India, I think there is a need for merit-based people to actually run office. Okay, so that's why I'm actually bringing up Singapore, and I think it's a very good example. So, in Singapore, they mostly hire technocrats, okay? So guys, I'm just going to define what is a technocrat, okay? A technocrat is a social or technocracy, okay? A social or political system in which scientific or technical experts hold a great deal of power. So this was actually implemented during the PAP, okay? This is the People's Action Party, which was a very prominent party in Singapore, right? So this was on purely basis on academics and professional merit, and this was all through popular vote, obviously, which was given an overwhelming mandate to govern. Okay, so I've been actually reading a couple of articles. So this article points out about this idea that I'm actually posturing here. So this is by Kenneth Paul Tan, Meritocracy and Elitism in Global City, Ideological Shifts in Singapore, which was published in 2008, by the way. And this was published in the International Political Science Review. Okay. All right. Okay. Speaking of, Nagaland and North-East, that I actually wanted to point out. Here I will say it again. In my point of view, the plan could be used here in Nagaland or the Northeast states of India. Why I say this particularly is because it would make a lot of sense if the government can put together a team, right? Not those of calibers who are charismatic, political candidates, ideological driven people or party. But I think the big portion of them have to be professional. They have to have a knack on administrative. They have to have a solid background on academic. And I think technical backgrounds are also very important to run a merit-based government per se. Speaking of the devil, in today's politics, okay, here's an interesting fact. Let's look at the word trading in a dictionary, okay? Trading. So trading is basically a word that has a lot of connotations to business or politics per se. If you look at horse trading too, these are all part of this whole branch in the English lexicon of trading. So in Hebrew, it means, and I quote, to go up and down as a telebearer, as an agitator, with secret, underhanded agitation, unquote. So, today we would call it campaigning, lobbying, or, propaganda, all right? So you can see clearly, okay, it has crossed all the warning and the red signals, okay, that corruption has, overwhelmed our lives basically, and lies have become, the norm. It's almost like the truth to us. So we seem to be so immune to it, unfortunately. However, this merit-based governance will indeed clean up the mess that a lot of for a lot of decades and many years that has spoiled our society and the system per se. So according to Kenneth Paul Tan again, in the same article, he points out that, and I quote, in order to choose from the widest pool of talent in a meritocratic government from less than a population of 4.5 million. Guys, so I'm quoting from the Singapore population, by the way. So 4.5 million was during 2013. So according to the data, Singapore is 5.7 million as of 2019. Okay, so it will have to, legitimize its choices and must demonstrate not only that the best are chosen, but also that can be drawn from any social background per se. Unquote. So this is actually very important because we see a lot of people and politicians and people in the government, and not just in the government, but also people in the business industries and tycoons. The fabric is such that the merit-based people don't have the opportunity. There's a lot of things that I will not blurt it out, but you know what I mean. Here's an interesting fact here, all right? So about one-party system in Singapore, okay, so Singapore has a one-party system, although they have oppositions, but since 1968, People's Action Party won all seats in the parliament during the general election. So despite other opposition members, other political parties have come to turn as a permanent opposition parties. So this is very interesting, okay, because why I'm pointing out, the opposition is willing to actually be a part of the government makeup, okay. Why I say this is because, their goal, the opposition's goal in meritocratic government is that their goal is not to topple or replace the current government, okay, but to contribute as many oppositional views just so that they can have their checks and balances in order. Okay, I think this is very, very pragmatic, I would say, and very practical, and it's good. It's the good for the people as well. So there's too many politicking in today's era, which causes a lot of damages, okay, to the economy, to the families, to human beings, to any human beings, be it an immigrant or a non-immigrant or a resident, and the social fabric of our culture, of our tradition, and so on and so forth. So you see the devil here. There's too much politicking and less practical things that is going on about. And we all can see it, but I'm sorry to say, but many of us are blinded by it. It also heightens a lot of division. So we have, a lot of tribalism, we have a lot of isms that makes us divisive. And I think there's a lot of corruption too, which is heightened due to the fact that there's a lot of malines and sinister politicking going on. So, you know what I mean when election is near, especially in Nagaland, people, turn out to be some other person they are, which is very sad. So merit is hardly in the agenda of the voters in Nagaland, okay, or in, I don't know about other states in India, but I'm just speaking to northeast part of India and Nagaland, okay. So all these are mostly wasteful competition just for the fact that they want to win a popular vote or a popular, candidate per se, who does not have any merit, intellectual prowess, technical or non-technical in a sense, like administrative experience or merit. So I think this needs to be pointed out, and I just wanted to repeat that again. All right, so yes, we will have some problems if we go about this meritocratic governance. For example, I'll just give you a couple of them just for the sake of viewers. So, white collar jobs will be snatched away because, there's a lot of, competition and making the blue collar jobs invincible, okay, which is unfortunate, but, there's things that can be mended, all right. And, winners will go winning and losers will go losing, okay. That could be a factor, but not necessarily, okay. There's a lot of critics who say that, but nevertheless, yes, Nagaland might be a small state, and yes, we might not be, very rich, but don't forget, Singapore was also a very small island with just a couple of boats and a couple of buildings, and this happened not too long ago. So, their place, the Singapore government is functioning very proficiently. And I think this is something that we need to emulate and maybe add in some of the things that that is good from that side. And it just doesn't have to be Singapore, but it could be other places too. But nevertheless, in conclusion, I believe that Nagaland and Northeast states of India can work together, on a merit-based governance, where we form a society in which duty, power, and responsibility, okay, these are the three ingredients, are held by the people with the greatest ability, purely based on merit, okay? This is a proposition that I'm making, and I challenge you that, there are people who will agree on me, and I'm very sure that people will not agree to this, but nevertheless, this is something that I'm going to put on the table, and it is for you to think about. But anyways, I just wanted to say that, you guys be safe, and just try to maintain SOPs, and just make sure that your families are safe, and you're fit, you're keeping healthy. All right, well, I think this is it for now, but please do join me in my next podcast. All right, okay, I'll see you guys again.